Today I'm going to be talking about variables, constants, and coefficients. So when it comes to algebraic expressions, and by that it's just really a little bit of writing with letters and numbers that doesn't have an equal sign, that's an expression, where they will be made up of what's called variables, constants, and coefficients. Now variables are letters that will represent numbers and they can vary. Okay, so examples of those could be things like A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whichever letters you want. And the thing is, like I had already said, they are variables. They will vary in what they could stand for. So there could be 5A in one question, which might be worth 10 if A is worth 2, and then in another question it might be worth something different. Okay, that's in two different equations. So for example, 5A could be worth 10, where A is worth 2, but then there'll be other times where it could be 5A could be equal to 15, therefore A will be worth 3 each that time. So it's something where there can be a little bit of differences. Constants are things that are always going to be the same. And by that, I mean we're talking about numbers. So 7, minus 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 100, a million, whatever. They are numbers that always mean the same thing. 7 will always be 7, okay? So they're the things that are constant, the things that will not change. Coefficients are the numbers that come before the variables. So for example, if I had 6A, the coefficient of A is 6, and what that means is 6 times A. So no matter how, let's say A stands for apples, no matter how much an apple cost, if I buy 6 of them, I could represent that cost as 6A, whether that 6A is going to be $6 at $1 each, or whether 6A is going to be something like $18, or it's $3 each, or whatever it might end up being. So just to remember, variables are the letters that represent numbers, constants are the numbers that are not attached to variables, and coefficients are the numbers before the variables. By the way, variables are sometimes called pronumerals as well. I might write that down. Pronumerals. Okay, let's have a look at some questions about which are the coefficients and which are the constants. So for this first question, I've got 5A plus 6. The constant is going to be 6. When it comes to the variable, it's going to be A, and the coefficient of A, I'm just going to write coef to make it a bit shorter, that is going to be 5. It's 5 lots of A, 5 times A. When I look at the question just below it, I've got 3xy plus 7y take 4. The constant is going to be negative 4. And that's because there's a negative sign at the front of it. If it was plus 4 at the end, then it'd just be 4. Positive 4 is the constant. So make sure you look at the sign that's before the constant. For the coefficients, the coefficient of xy is going to be 3. The coefficient of y is going to be 7. Let's have a look at the top now. 4x plus y, the constant, is nothing. There is no constant. There are no numbers that are just by themselves. So I'll get rid of that. Now, when it comes to the coefficients, we've got the coefficient of x, and that will be 4, because there's the number 4 in front of it. When it comes to the coefficient of y, imagine there's an imaginary 1 at the front, because 1 times anything would just be anything. It would just stay as the value that it was. So there's an imaginary 1 there. Let's have a look at the next one. The constant is going to be minus 7. And the coefficient of AC is going to equal 1 because there's nothing in front of them. Now I'm looking at the one just underneath, a plus c over 2. There is no constant. There is no plus 2 or minus 2. There's a division instead. And that means that we're going to have a coefficient. A plus c divided by 2, that's going to be exactly the same as this. Okay? Or 0.5 a plus c. So that means that the coefficient for a would actually be 0.5. So the coef of a would be 0.5 or a half, whichever you'd prefer, and that would be the same for c. Because 0.5 is what you get when you do 1 divided by 2. So that's the coefficients for those ones. It's a bit of a trickier question. Now, our last one that we're going to have a look at over here, 2x squared take 1 plus 4x plus y, 2, y divided by 2. So, the coefficient of, actually first up we'll look at the constants. Constant is going to be -1. Now, coefficients, we've got a few different things around the place. We've got an x squared, and the number before the x squared is 2. 2 lots of x squared, that's the coefficient. We've also just got normal x. The coefficient of x is going to be 4. And we've also got y. And the coefficient of y is going to be 0.5 or a half, because anything divided by 2 is multiplied by 0.5 or multiplied by half. So there we go. There's answers for coefficients and constants and variables. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time.